So it's a great time to be a listing agent for single family. But I also still have some condo listings that I'm not getting any calls on, right? So it's definitely a balance, and you have to make sure that your business is well-rounded now to make sure you withstand it. You know, this crazy cycle that we're in.
So the question is this: how do most agents find the secrets to succeed in today's competitive real estate market, especially when the top agents are keeping those secrets to themselves? That's the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. Hi, I'm Aaron Amuchastegui, and welcome to Real Estate Rockstars. Hey, Real Estate Rockstars. This is Aaron Amuchastegui. Today, I get to interview 30 under 30 recipient Brian Tran. Brian's from the Bay Area. I used to live right up the street, right up the highway from where he's at now. Brian, how's it going?
Not bad, man. Not bad. I'm glad to be on the podcast. I'm really excited.
Dude, very cool to hit 30 under 30. I love getting to interview you guys as you get to hit that. You must be doing something special. What was it like? What was it like when you found out that you were on the list?
Well, it was my last year to apply. I was 29 or so, right? And so I was like, man, if I get this, it'd be pretty cool. It'd be like a nice little bucket list. So when I got it, it was huge, right? And I think this year they actually allowed us to be on the cover of the magazine. So I was stoked, man. Yeah. Dude,
your face on the cover of Realtor magazine, like epic, man. That was like an epic thing to get to celebrate. How long have you been in real estate?
I've been in real estate. I renewed my license twice. So about almost 9 years now. Yeah.
You could have applied that first year. You got it at the very end and now you're in. What was it? Why'd you get into real estate to begin with?
Well, that was actually pretty easy. So my parents were, although they didn't really invest too much in real estate, they knew that was the American dream and that the wealthy owned properties. And so naturally I graduated college. Or actually, I took my test 6 months before graduating because I knew school wasn't for me. I got my license and I just hit the ground running. I was like, dude, we're gonna make this happen or not. And thankfully, I'm still here. And so it worked out.
Were you going to school in California at the time?
I was down at UC San Diego.
Yeah.
And that school was hard.
Dude, yeah. The weather is hard to beat. Like we were talking about the California weather before we clicked on, but man, I went to school down at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. And so like the Central Coast, those beach towns down in Central and Southern California, pretty hard to beat. Tough to focus on school when there's so much fun stuff. And UCSD. Yeah. Heck of a university down there.
Yeah. And so I was like, man, this isn't going to work. I don't know because I had a license in political science. Right. And I was like, what am I going to do? And so naturally, real estate was just that route. And I got out, I started working with my brother, who was actually in real estate as well. And during that time, it was the Mike Ferry era. I call it the Mike Ferry era, where cold calling expireds, cold calling FSBOs, door knocking, circle prospecting. And during that time, thank God there were expireds because I'm 21 years old at the time. I'm like, who would trust a 21-year-old kid? But I went out there with my scripts. I went out there with my coaching and it worked. It paid off. And that's kind of how I built my business, actually.
That is so how did you, go back to the very beginning, right? So you had just got your license, and what made you think of go check out these? Did you go to a class? Did somebody tell you about it? Or it was just, did you find stuff on the internet?
For Mike Ferry or for the coaching?
Yeah, for Mike Ferry.
For Mike Ferry. I think they cold called me.
Really?
Yeah, they cold called me, and they still cold call me till this day. So it works.
Yeah. So they cold called you, and now you're off to the races. Do you do more? So how many deals did you do your first year? So you started doing the calling FSBOs, calling expireds, and how'd you do your first year?
First year wasn't bad. Man, let me think about that. We did I think me personally, I did probably 6. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Not terrible, not bad. Made the most money I've ever made ever.
Right. Way better than the political science degree job you were going to get.
Yeah, like 60,000 out there, everything. And I was like, dude, this is great. I'm like, man. And at the time, my other brother was working at a some kind of paralegal firm or something like that. He's only getting paid like $20 an hour or something like that. So I was like, man, this is freaking awesome. Totally. And yeah, we just kept going. So I owe Mike a lot. He taught me the core fundamentals that we still use today. I don't door knock and cold call as much anymore. It's not as effective in San Francisco. There are more effective ways, but the same core principles. I don't watch the news in the morning. I have a very strict regimen, right? My schedule's packed. And so a lot of the core principles that I learned then still apply to my success today.
Yeah. What's it been like? So beginning of COVID, San Francisco takes a huge hit, right? Everything closes down. Everybody thinks that San Francisco's done. And then, over the last 6 to 9 months, I've heard all sorts of stories of it picking back up. And San Francisco is also a big place. And so it's different from the city. What's it like right now? And if you could summarize like the last year and a half there, has there been some downs and some ups? Has there been mostly ups? What's the story?
Yeah. So actually the reason why I applied for 30 under 30, that was 2021, or I don't forget the announcement, but we had just gone through the worst market I've ever been in. Right. So I got to say, I've been lucky. I got into the market 2013. It's been nothing but up. Right. I rode the wave.
Time to start.
So, yeah. I mean, like, gosh, everything's selling. Everything's good. COVID happens. San Francisco shuts down. There was 1 month where nothing happened. Right. And then the other months, it started to get better, but it got better for the single family markets. Right. I focused predominantly in the condo market. I sold luxury high rises and it just tanked, and it tanked for all of 2020, most of 2021. It's still kind of bad now. Right. And so we had to pivot quickly, and we started to sell into the single family. We switched our marketing to attract more single family buyers. We started trying to go after more single family listings because the condo market was just sitting. And I was having bad conversations with the sellers every week. It was mentally taxing. It was sad. A lot of people were, they had to sell and they lost a lot of money. I've never experienced that ever, because up until then, I've only broke records, right? I've only netted my sellers a ton of money. 2020 was the first year where I saw the seller proceeds sheets and it was like negative 50,000, negative 80,000. And they were like, screw it, get me out. I need to put it into the stock market. So it worked out well for them. That's kind of the general gist. We still have a lack of inventory right now. I just went over with my team. Sales are down because there's just no inventory. And if you have a single family right now, it's flying off the shelf. I mean, 30, 40 disclosure packages out, 7 to 8 very strong offers. So it's a great time to be a listing agent for single family. But I also still have some condo listings that I'm not getting any calls on. Right. So it's definitely a balance, and you have to make sure that your business is well-rounded now to make sure you withstand it. This crazy cycle that we're in.
Yeah. The downtown condo stuff is there's markets everywhere that are still challenged. And it's important for us to be able to realize that and talk about it, because as an agent, it's so easy to get to hear other people's niches or other people's stories and go, wow, they sure their city's doing great while my city's struggling, or their product's doing great. Or it's like, hey, the single families are doing great. So for the condos that have sold over the past couple of years, right? What has been the secret? Super low prices, or amazing views, or when people are buying right now, are they seeing long-term opportunity? What is making people buy when the demand is so much lower for that product right now?
Yeah. So when you're talking about condominiums, there's 2 types in San Francisco. Mostly there's a lot of types, but there's 2. You have the older Victorians, the Edwardians that are, they used to be 3-4 units. They're now converted into smaller condominium buildings. Those typically do great because they're in a neighborhood. They usually have a yard or a roof deck attached. They live and feel like a single family. So those ones, you don't have to do much different. But now I'm talking about the high rises, the ones where they're more cookie cutter. There's 20 of the same floor plans. Pricing is critical, right? I think if you're going to sell those, you have to price it lower, right? You're not going to be fetching the super high premiums. And you got to make sure they show very well. They got to be painted. They got to be staged. You got to showcase the views if they have any. And then also you have to start attracting the investors. you have to kind of get them excited that things are coming back to normal, right? People will go back to work. These condos will fill up. So here's your opportunity to buy it for 5, 10, 12% off what they were going for pre-pandemic. So you have to show people the opportunity. That's the best way to sell these condos. And then at the end of the day, you can do all that and they still might sit, but it's about educating both sides of the party to make sure that everybody understands that from the buyer side, there's opportunity. From the seller side, maybe you have to take a little bit less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 2013, you start, you get into real estate and it's just a great time to be in there. Everybody's happy on both sides of the transaction. Everybody looks like they're a great investor, right? Because everything is just because every year it's going up slightly. Like, so the people that were bad investors, would take too long on construction. The market would go up well enough, it would make up for it. How did you differentiate yourself from other agents during that time? And were you mostly buyers, mostly sellers at the time? And how did you get leads?
Yeah, early on in my career, mostly on the buy side, right? Hitting your sphere of influence. Open houses was a big one. And we were buying Zillow and Realtor.com leads, which killed it. Our ROIs on Zillow and Realtor.com was 350% for everything. So at that time, I was about maybe 70% buyers and then 30% listings. Today, I'm more 60-40, 60% listing, 40% buyers. But back then, it was mostly online leads and open houses. Right? Typical stuff, nothing special. Just do a really good job. Go in there, provide value. Right? So my thing is, if I can go in there, the reason why a buyer will work with me, I will always go above and beyond, and I would always just provide so much value. Whether like even with the buyer, I would pull comps before I even go out there. Right? Like, here's what this home's worth. A lot of front-loaded work, but every time I did that, young kid, it made up for, I don't know, let's say the older guy down the street who, may have looked better than me, more experienced, but I provided that like experience right from the get-go, So that's what I was taught. It's just like, go out there, give, so that they know that you're the good hot shot, Yeah. Now I don't have to do it as much because now we've been doing it long enough. Our numbers are good. It speaks for themselves. Right.
Like you have to get the experience somehow. And then once you've had experience, now you've been there for 9 years, doing real estate, and you transition from being an agent to I think a team leader. And now you own your own brokerage office. You've just got your own boutique brokerage. Tell us about that transition, as you've been from being just Brian to having your own brokerage.
So the main thing is, it's great being a realtor. It's great being an individual agent. You make more. Sometimes it's less headaches, but it's hard to scale. It's hard to walk away. So I had my son 3 years ago. And so it was planned. So we knew what we were getting into. And I remember the year, July 2017 was like that time in your career where you're like, damn it, I made it. It's easy. This is you're no longer worried. You know what I mean? As a new agent, you're like, where's my next paycheck? Am I going to make it?
Totally. You have 6 deals your first year. You never know, am I going to do 4? Am I going to do 6? It's a big difference.
Yeah. And
2017, you're doing deals.
Yeah. And we were making a lot. And I was like, dude, okay, we did it. But then I look back and, of course, tracking your schedule, tracking your, where the leads come from, how many hours you're actually working on your business and all that stuff. I'm like, dude, I can't do this. I'm working kind of around the clock. My wife hated it. I pick up every phone call. And so we were like, okay, my business partner at the time, he kind of works the same way as I do. Just go, pick up the phone. And so we sat there, we looked at it and said, okay, this isn't scalable. So I'm about to have a kid. He was getting married too. And so we're like, what's next? We can't continue at this pace. We're probably going to burn out or just not be happy. We'll make all this money, but we're not going to be happy. So the next thing was just okay, let's grow a team, right? We can hand off some of the buyers. We'll still make, 50 or 60%, depending on the deal, but we can scale, we can grow. And so we just kept that mindset. And now it just organically kind of just kept elevating.
Real Estate Rockstars, this is Aaron and Muchastegui for a quick commercial break. So during 2020 and 2021, the real estate market completely changed. There's so much competition in the market, so many people trying to buy and sell houses, but there's hardly any supply, hardly any product, hardly anyone willing to list their homes. It's time for every agent out there to become a hybrid agent investor, to be able to reach out directly to homeowners to try to get them to sell or list their house. We've got a new website. Go to leadpropeller.com and you can set up your own investor buyer website in just minutes. You'll set up your own URL, set up phone numbers, help go through to leads, help reach out to people that aren't listing their property currently, and have them fill out a form that says, hey, I want to sell my house. And then as an agent, you can go through and make them a hybrid offer. You can tell them, hey, I think your house would sell for $220,000 on MLS, but I can either write you a $180,000 cash offer right now, or I can help you fix it up and you'll list it for $220,000 on MLS. These are buyers that are looking for quick cash offers. Tens of thousands are submitting these forms every single day, and they're skipping the listing process. But so many of you guys out there are such good agents. It's a great opportunity to get that lead and help them maximize sales price for their home. So again, go to leadpropeller.com and think about signing up for your own investor site, so buyers will start reaching out to you, asking you to make an offer on their home. Yeah. So you said you could. So at that point, what was your guys' specialty? Was it you just knew the system? Like you could buy the leads from Zillow. You had a high return, so you knew that you could bring it in, and as long as you had capable people, you could hand it off, and those capable people would be excited to get stuff handed over to them. Was that your?
Yeah. So 2017, we did about $40 million that year, 41 or 42 million, and about 70% of that business was actually from Zillow and Realtor.com. So we kind of knew, we tracked the return, and we were like, okay, well, if we just continue to put money back into it, we train them on our scripts, train them on what we do to convert, we'll do fine. And that's kind of what it was. Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. It's totally a numbers game. You're like, when we spend this much, we can do this many deals, but between you and I, we can't do that many deals. So now if we spend this much and we get some extra people, like your income kind of stays the same and you work less, or similar and you work less. So what about now? So now it's 2022. We already talked about like some of the markets, crazy and awesome, and some of the market isn't as good. You've grown your team. I think you've got a team of 11. What did you guys do last year? What are you going to do this next year? And how are you getting deals? Last year was our growth year. I would say last year we probably could have did more, but because we were adding the support structures for our brokerage, right? Like our admins, our head of operations, all that stuff. It took us away from selling, but we did about 62 million in 2021. This year alone in January, we did 20 million already. So it's like, there's always that learning curve when you jump. We've been at multiple brokerages. So crazy. Say that again. What did you do last year? Last year was 61 million. And then this year in January, you did 20. Yeah. Yes, you did a third of 2021's volume in the first month of the year. Yeah, but we're learning. It's like smooth sailing now. You know what I mean? Everything is a system. Everything in real estate is a system and a numbers game, whether you're investing, you're an agent, or you find that funnel, right? I remember when I was first started like trying like Google ads and Facebook ads, and these were like, I'll buy your house. They were me walking through houses saying like, I'll buy your house. And we were running them. And every time we're like, we just need to find the vein. Like, we'll try this ad. We'll try this ad. We'll try this ad. One of these times we're going to find the one that's so good that we go, whoa, the cost of acquisition for that lead only cost us $24. Yep. And that lead was costing us $300. So then you're able to go, oh, that's the one. Let's turn it up and go. So like last year, you're learning, you find your system, and now you're off to the races. I understand that every year it's always been like that. It's always been 1 year good. I mean, they've all been great years. Don't get me wrong. They're all lucrative years. It's like never a year where we were hurting or anything like that. But it's always 2 steps back to go like 5 steps forward. And sometimes you just got to realize that, like, yeah, it sucks right now, but we're doing what is necessary so that we can catapult ourselves. And I think a lot of people kind of just never want to go through that growth, that pain. So they rather just stick to the status quo. Whereas with us, we're like, no, let's try to let's make our life a little harder today to make it easier tomorrow. And that's been kind of our motto, and it's been working. Yeah. So there's a lot of agents that are listening. We try to figure out like, what's 1 or 2 things that you think any agent could do right now to start growing their business? I'm big on videos now. I'm I'm trying to do more. We brought on I guess you could say like he's our designated video guy for the team. It's free. Well, granted you got to pay him a salary, but it's relatively free. It's cheaper than Zillow. It's cheaper than Realtor.com, and you could blast it out like so much. Like you reach so much more people. I mean, especially with Instagram Reels and TikToks right now, you're reaching thousands of people, even if your stuff isn't that good. So I'm getting better at just producing more content. And the reason why also is because videos will continue to work for you even when you're sleeping, right? Like my videos are still getting views. My videos are still getting likes. Whereas let's say like a Google SEO ad, if I stop paying, it's gone, So I say, if you're a new agent and you're not doing videos, like you're losing out on a lot of opportunity. That's free.
And if somebody says like, all right, Brian, I need to go do my first 2 or 3 videos.
Yeah.
What are some simple videos they can go do right now and go post it as a reel or something on Instagram? Like what are the first few videos they should do?
I found that if in the first 3 seconds, you got to capture their attention. So find out what questions are people are asking, and you can go on Quora, QUORA.com and just type in real estate San Francisco. Then they'll generate like the most popular questions people ask about that topic. Make a video on that, right? Answer the question, like make it short. I would say the video doesn't have to be more. The shorter the video you can make it, the better. 15 to 20-second videos do a lot better than the long format in the beginning. Then when you build the audience, you can put out longer content because you have the supporters to watch your videos, and then that allows it to grow and grow and grow. So super easy.
Dude, I love that as just a very quick, like go to Quora, ask the question. I've heard that for people like to start, answering questions inside there, but you just see what are the questions people are asking. And then you just go on and start answering it. So like the content's already out there. Like what content should I provide? That's an easy way to go see. These are what people are asking. Let's make the video. Better chance of it going viral.
Yeah. And, copy, duplicate, replicate, whatever it is. I mean, like the videos that are out there, I mean, just find an agent that you like in another market and see what he's doing and just do it for your market. Right. Show him support or her support, and she'll be like, dude, they'll be happy. They'll love that you're taking what they're doing and duplicating it, as long as it's tastefully done.
Yeah. So what's something you wish you would have known back in 2013 when you started?
Man,
other than buy Bitcoin.
Yeah. As far as real estate goes, I mean, I think I did it right. I got into coaching right away. So I didn't have any bad habits. I still got bad habits, but at least I got rid of most of it. But I should have jumped into this market sooner. I was actually in Oakland, selling in Oakland, which is like, and now I'm mostly in San Francisco proper, right? Like real San Francisco. I guess the one thing in 2013 was I wish I just started in San Francisco right off the bat and joined like the big name brokerage, because I'm going to be honest. I kind of grew up in Oakland. I grew up in more of the lower income areas. So my tone was a little off. My demeanor was a little off. Like I just joined a big brokerage where I could model myself to like the higher end, right? I think I would have did better probably sooner.
Yeah. So it's important modeling, right? Like finding a model, because there's you said find a coach too and find a model, but there's two different things there. Right. Yeah. And some people might think it's the same, like your coach is someone that you can model against, but no, a good coach can actually analyze you.
Yep.
They can analyze Brian. They can say, hey, Brian, this is like, here's some things you should try. And then you can go back to him and say, I'm trying this and this is working and this isn't. And he can go, all right, Brian, you can do this. And then a model is somebody that maybe they're not even talking to you, but the way they walk by, the demeanor they use, the way they dress, the way they treat people, they open the door for somebody. Yeah. Like finding models, you can have a mentor, you can have a model that doesn't know you, right? Like you could follow along, you can find somebody on social media, if you're out there, like what Brian's talking about, if you're somebody out there and you don't quite know what you want to do yet, right? Go find those models, go try to find the people that are doing the highest volume in your area, if that's what you're looking for, or doing the biggest houses, and try to see like, what are they doing? Who can be the model?
It's like, you got to change your environment. So I in short, I should have just changed my environment sooner, faster, right? Like when I moved to SF, I joined a company called Vanguard, super prestigious. Everybody wore a suit and tie. Everybody drove nice cars. Everybody spoke differently, right? And it caused me to elevate. I had to become that, right? And now I get it. People, new agents, be yourself. That's 100% true. But at the same time, you got to kind of be aware of your surrounding, right? And especially when you're new and you're starting off, you can't be that crazy, out of the box kind of person, right? Like you kind of have to build your way in, get a first couple clients in, and then you can be more original. At least that's what I think, because, now I can be a little bit more of who I am because I built that business. They know me, they tried and true. I have a book of business. I have records of me selling things for the highest price per square foot. So I can be a little bit more original, but in the beginning it's hard,
I really liked what you said there. You said, be yourself, but be aware of your surroundings.
Yeah.
Right. Like, because some of that's as simple as be polite. Like people are like, yeah, yes, you could be whoever you want to be and you can do whoever you want to. Like you can do these things in your free time and you can talk like that and you can, whatever it is, right? Like you can cuss, you can talk this way, you can dress how you want, but be aware of your surroundings and know that it's going to impact other people. And it does, frankly, so much of real estate is image and relationship and who people are. Like you have to make people trust you. You have to make them confident in you, right? You have to make people want to work with you and really celebrate some of your wins with you. They want you to celebrate your wins with them. And so I love that. Yeah. Be who you are, but be aware of your environment, changing that environment to get to learn from people that you want to be more like, right? Like if you're struggling being professional enough, then joining an office or going to an area where everybody's acting very, very professional. Yeah. I don't know how to even wear a suit or how I'm supposed to walk in a suit. Like, all right, go hang out with people wearing suits.
Yeah.
And you can.
It's funny. Actually, when you were saying that, I'm like, Elon Musk can go in here and be as flamboyant as he wants. Jeff Bezos, Gary Vee goes around, he cusses everywhere. But Gary Vee is Gary Vee. Gary Vee he's already big. So at this point, he can do whatever he wants, say whatever he wants. His followers love him. They're diehard fans. Most people aren't Gary Vee. They don't know who you are. And you're trying to build your business. You can't go around just cussing and all that stuff, right? Like it's just not going to work. It comes with experience. It comes with once people begin to know who you are, then you can maybe be a little bit more flamboyant and crazy.
It's interesting. We live in the video world too, right? And we live in the video world where like a video of something you did 3 years ago could matter today. Like a video of something you did 10 years ago could matter today. When I was in high school, right? So I'm 10 years older than you. So when I was in high school, we didn't have cameras on phones, right? So I know it makes me sound old or whatever, but I'm so grateful because I did so much crap I should have never done in high school. And there was no videos or no pictures of any of that stuff going on. And today, as technology changes, how we present ourselves all the time matters.
Yeah.
And having good models and learning from it. And no matter what age I am, there are people that I hang out with that I learn from the way they talk and the way they act and the way they choose to do things. And I go, I want to do more like that.
That's right.
When did you get that team? So you have 11 people on your team, right? They get that number right?
Yeah.
So has that grown over the last couple of years?
That grew literally in the last 6 months. It was a team it started off with just 2 and the first couple people were the hardest to grow, right? Like it's, you're very picky. So it became, I think it was 2 all the way up until 2018. Then it became 3. And then 19 became 4. 2020, we were 5, right? Very slow. And then literally the other 6 kind of came on within the last 6 months. So 2021, 2022.
Yeah.
And we're very organic. I don't naturally go out and recruit people, right? I kind of like it small. I like the boutique feel because then it's like a family, right? Once you get so big, I don't want to tippy toe in the office. I am who I am. I crack jokes and I'm a little bit crazy, right? And so they have to be like me, not necessarily personality, right? But they have to get my jokes and stuff like that to kind of be a part of the team.
Yeah.
So they just naturally come in through Instagram or a friend, and we get them in. We interview their personality type to make sure that they're a good fit. And if they're a good fit, then they join. If not, it's okay. We like it small.
Yeah. So your tip of questions, I went ahead on Quora and I said like real estate Austin.
Yeah.
The question comes, the first one says, is the Austin real estate market in a bubble? If so, when will it burst? The other one says, should I buy real estate now in Austin? What is the future of the Austin real estate market? Is retail real estate heating up? What legal structure should I use for an investment? So there is all these questions that now I could record a video on each of those.
Yeah.
If I've never done videos and reels and I'm like, hey, I need 10 topics to be able to do some stuff. Turn on that recorder, give 20, 30-second answers on something and get to start to share it. It really is a simple way to take some of the thought process out.
I mean, it's as simple as this. Like, you hold the phone. Is the Austin real estate market in the bubble? Boom. That's the first clip, right? You always want to start off with the question, because that's okay. If I'm interested, I'm like, oh shoot, I was thinking about that. Okay, I'll watch it. And you just go over market stats and stuff like that. Super quick. It's that easy. That's the tag. That's your hook. Those questions are your hook. And then, the rest is just you doing what you do best. The real estate market. So that's what you fill in.
Yeah. You just start talking, right? So much of the people, it's always fun when I get to interview people on the podcast, and some of them get super nervous and they go like, I've never been on one. I don't know what to say. And then when you get the right question and they get to start talking, I've had several people afterward that have told me like, don't publish that. I wasn't any good. Right? Be like, trust me, it was perfect. Like we're going to go out there. And then they get to hear it after. They're like, wow. So I didn't know I could talk like that. It's like, no, turn on the camera and start talking. You'll be, and don't even like review it yourself. Just let everybody else rate it for you, because you'll get to see right away that it works out. So you're telling your people do videos this year to get more business. What else are you doing for your team, or telling your team and your office to do to really grow this year?
Well,
or did you figure that out last year?
Yeah. So really, now that we're a brokerage and we're like, okay, well, how do I make people's lives easier? Right. And so we have a team of virtual assistants. They help write some of the offers for them. They don't publish the offers. It's still our job to review it. But a lot of the stuff we delegate off, so that now it frees up our agents' time to just go out and do what they do best, which is get in front of clients. I'm still old school. We still send out farms. We still farm a lot. We started farming way more than we've ever done in probably all the other years combined, because now I just want to touch more people, right? It takes, I think one of our coaches says it takes 21 touches before they even think about selling with you. So now I'm like, okay, how do I touch somebody 21 times? So we're sending out handwritten cards, but there's a trick to it. We don't actually, hopefully no sellers are hearing this, but we write one, but we say dear blank. We don't actually write their name, comma, all in blue ink, all on the line. They all say the same thing. We run it through our expensive printer and it looks legit. Then you go back in and you pull out a blue pen that you used to write it with. You go through the Excel spreadsheet and you go, dear Brian, fold that one up. Dear Sam. So it looks like we wrote it by hand, and we send that out to, a few thousand sellers every week.
That's so rad. So it's on paper. It's not a postcard. It's like you're printing it on a piece of paper. First you draw it, then you scan, you reprint it, and then you rewrite it in. So they're getting a handwritten letter. Yeah. There, and so you have to put it in the envelope. But
it's super simple, and it's true, right? We have a handful of buyers, so we just write, "Hey, dear Bob, we're writing because we have a buyer interested in looking in your market, and he's looking for the exact specification of your home, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. If you've ever considered selling, please give us a call. We'd love to get our buyers in, take a look at it. This is not a solicitation for a listing, but if you have, please give us a call." It's super simple, super short. And guess what? If it works, we get our buyers in. But in this market, every seller wants to bring it to the market, right? Because that's how you get the maximum dollars. But guess what? They call you. Now you have a real seller. Yeah. And now it's your job to go out and win it.
Right. You're like, I'm not trying to list it for you. I have a buyer for you, but now they see you're a real estate agent. It's out. So I love farming, and I love farming, especially on here, because I love being able to teach listeners like this is something you can do today.
Yeah.
And there's so many actionable tips that every podcast you listen to. And you talked about finding a coach and finding a mentor, and like buying the leads from Zillow and Realtor and a lot of these different things. But I love that tactic of here's some letters, we're putting it out there. And when you're doing that farming, So like, how are you getting the data? Are you using software to do it? Are you using title company?
They gave us a login. So we usually do.
Say it again. Is it?
Chicago Title.
Yep.
Yeah, they're pretty good. Their softwares are usually very easy to use. Our assistant pulls it all, so we don't have to bug a title rep or anything like that. And so we look for owners who have at least 80% equity, and then they have to have owned it for more than 5 years, right? So that we don't go really specific, because that way, you're overthinking it. We just go with the bare minimum, get thousands of Excel numbers and emails and stuff like that, and then we just farm those.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, then like whatever farm that is, we start doing videos in there, and you can then do a Facebook ad targeting those people. So now they're getting your card, they're seeing your videos. If they're on Facebook, most of the time they are. And then you're just layering it so that I can try to get to that 21 touch as fast as possible.
Yeah. We have some software too that does that. You can pick any city in the country and pick out like non-owner occupied or people with equity and things like that. Title companies are great if you're doing it just local. If you guys are looking for nationwide stuff, you can message me. I can give you some software ideas for stuff like that. So you're grabbing, and I love that too. Like how cool is it that you could say like, here's a zip code, right? And now you can run Facebook ads against that zip code. Or you can use some of that technology to go get a phone number and an email for them. So you can send them your letter. I love your handwritten letter idea. You can send them postcards if you want to. You can do the Facebook ads. You can call, you can email, or you could take that email list and upload it to Facebook and send ads against that. Like, so, and there's a few different pieces of software to do that, right? Like you're getting some stuff from the title company, then you have to use a skip tracing software to get the other, but it's not that expensive. You're talking like 5 cents a lead to get the phone number and get the email and be able to start blasting it out on there. Do you think, which one do you think is so I believe in the 21 touches. We say 5, we say 7, we say 10, we say 21. I think you're the first person that I've heard say 21. Right. Yeah, but maybe that's why you're winning. But when somebody makes that final call, is there one that you think sticks out more than the other? If somebody says, I really can't do them all, this one's better, or do you just think you need to do them all?
I mean, honestly, it comes down, I would say Facebook ads probably the best, because it's the easiest, right? Letters are hard. We have the staff for it, because I'm not here licking envelopes and folding it. That's difficult, right? So I would say Facebook ads, because one click and you can reach thousands of impressions, thousands of views. So, but I really do believe you need to do all of them. You need to be everywhere. It's like omnipresence. They need to they see you so much where they don't even know where they most of the time, they don't even know where they saw me. And they just be like, hey, I think we got you on Zillow. But it's because I'm just everywhere. Like, they're seeing me on my postcards, they're seeing me on the letters, they're seeing me on Facebook ads, they're probably seeing me on Instagram. They don't know where they see me, but they're going to think of me when they sell or buy.
Hey, real estate rock stars. This is Aaron Buchestegui, and I'm interrupting myself to bring you this commercial break from one of our sponsors. And I know you guys would much rather listen to the content and not the ads and not the sponsors, but this is one that I'm actually super, super excited with. So many of the realtors that we interview on the show, they talk about how much systems are important and how much follow-up is important. And I'm really, really excited about our new sponsor. There's somebody I've been looking at for a long time. And when they reached out to me, I said, yes, we have to be able to do this deal. So that sponsor is Follow Up Boss. On an interview last week with agent Mark McGuire, I asked him what his favorite software and what his favorite system was. And he said it was Follow Up Boss. And then he went on for another 3 or 4 minutes to talk about why Follow Up Boss was the best CRM he uses. So there's a lot of superstars out there that use Follow Up Boss. Some of the stats they gave me: Robert Slack, 1.5 billion team in Florida, #1 in the US. He uses Follow Up Boss to get a 400% ROI on his massive paid lead spend. Deborah Beagle, co-owner of the Ashton Group in Nashville, uses Follow Up Boss to guarantee that agents who join her team get 2 homes under contract in the first 90 days. That's a big guarantee for new agents. Barry Jenkins of Your Friends in Real Estate uses Follow Up Boss to automate everything so his team can produce $200 million on 25-hour work weeks. All right, so here's an offer. You guys are going to get this special for being Real Estate Rockstars listeners. Now, I've used Follow Up Boss. We've actually used it in our non-real estate businesses as well, because it's so good at being able to set timers, set automatic texting and emailing. And what do you know? Best name ever, follow up. So here's what we got. For Real Estate Rockstars listeners, you get a 30-day free trial. That's normally 14 days. So in order to get this, you go followupboss.com/rockstars. So again, followupboss.com, just like it sounds, /rockstars. Go there, get your 30-day free trial and check it out. Especially if you aren't using any systems or any CRMs yet, this will be a great one for you to start with. All right, everybody, thanks again. Now back to our show. Yeah, that's what so much of it is. It's always amazing when people go, oh, I need to do this. Who do I know out there? Let's say we had a house today. We need to put an electric meter on, right? We're like, who do we know that's an electrician over there? And one of the gals that works for me says, hey, my friend just became an electrician. He texted me last week and said, hey, he's an electrician now. Like, can he go do it? We're like, yeah, have him go put the meter on there. Like, he's like, hey, like people, it doesn't matter what business people are in. There's so many times in our life we're just like, wait, who do I know first? Before I Google and say, who can paint my house or who's the electrician or who can sell my house? Like, who do I know? And then they see your face. Oh, I know Brian. I've seen him doing this. He's been telling me he's the guy.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a really fun business as you get to throw fire on it. So now you've grown through your career. You went from working, 24 hours a day to now you're growing this business. Last year you had this growing year. 2022, you're taking off like a rocket.
Yeah.
What are you going to do in your personal life? Like because in 2017, you're like, I made it.
Yeah.
Right now you got to be feeling like I made it, like in a different way than in 2017. Yeah. So what do you do next?
Man, I mean, I my wife doesn't listen to these podcasts, so that's good. I can say this, but we do spend time with family. I have 2 kids now. I have a baby girl that's 11 month. My son's 3.5, I think now, 3 and some change. I don't count the months. And so I do make time to spend it with them at least one day a week, like where it's just full dedicated to them. But along the way, I just opened up a bunch of other businesses. And so I just found that growing is the most fun part. Like building and growing something is amazing. So when I'm not working on real estate, I would say real estate takes up about 60 to 70% of my time. The other percent is split up between other businesses and in my family. And so I have a virtual assistant company that has over 500 clients now. It's called the VA Hub. We provide virtual assistants for real estate agents, right? Naturally, because that's what I know. And so I built out modules for them. That company's booming. And I opened up 2 coffee shops here in San Francisco. I opened up a mobile tea shop, and we just bought a bunch of rentals along the way. And so it's like, I don't know. 2017, I felt that burnout, but now it's like, okay, I know how to do things differently now. I know how to build teams. I'm more of in real estate, I'm still active. I still sell, I still list properties, but in all the other companies, I treat myself more as a chairman of the board than the CEO of the company. And so that way they still run. And so now 2022, I just want to keep going. I want to see how big I can take all the companies.
Yeah.
Just keep going. And yeah, along the way, of course, I buy nice cars and I love cars. So I buy nice cars and we take nice vacations. But now it's like, you know what? I just want to keep going. I like the hustle, but we hustle differently, like no longer so much in the business, but now we get to work on the business across multiple companies.
It's a different challenge.
Yeah.
Right? Different. When I first started buying foreclosures, I was driving by the houses and knocking on the door, and then I was doing title, and then I was comping, and I was standing at auction. And after I bought the house, I'd go drill out the lock and I'd start fixing it. Right. And then I was doing it all, and that was fun. And it was a good hustle. And we did really well. Right. And then later the hustle gets to be like growing the business and then scaling the business, or it's more on the financing side. And then now it's like owning some of like the foreclosure data companies instead that are selling the data to the guys that are flipping the houses. Like there's all sorts of fun stuff as we get to go. I've been, I can't believe it's 2022, right? It's almost 2 years since the world turned weird. I should stop talking about it, especially if I want the world, everybody, but it's been there's 2 or 3 times in my lifetime that were super, super impactful. In the last couple of years but one of the big things of 2020 for me was diversification. Yeah. Right? And reminding people of why diversification was good, because I owned 5 or 6 businesses when COVID hit. And the one that I used to make my most money on went to zero when COVID hit. And it's pretty much been zero ever since. And my other 5 companies have done, like, we had a few do average, a few do great. And I've had some new ones since then. Like every real estate agent out there, the lesson that I learned the hard way in 2015, we had made a bunch of money and, up by where you live from 2009, 2012, 2013, made millions of dollars. 2013, lost it all because I didn't realize I wasn't investing any of that money. I was just like making money as an agent, and I thought like, hey, next month I'll make more. I can invest later. I didn't even think about it. So what I've been trying to talk to agents about over the last year was to do exactly what you're doing. Like while you're doing good, while you're making these revenues to the listeners out there, like maybe, we get new listeners, we get old. If you're in your second or third year and you're really starting to crush it, Brian's interview is a great time for a reminder to say, like, if you haven't bought a rental property yet yourself, buy one. If you have, like, that's a very simple way to become an entrepreneur is buy some real estate investments. You're a real estate agent. That's an easy shift. I've interviewed people this year about how to start a business, how to build some other things like the VA Hub stuff, like stuff that we use to build our businesses. One of my businesses is a software of how to buy foreclosures that I built myself when I was buying foreclosures, right? Like along the way, we get to do stuff and push it out. But what you've done, Brian, is awesome. And I think it's a great reminder to those agents. You're like, what do I want to do now? I want to keep building the other stuff. And agents, if you haven't bought an investment yet, or if you haven't bought a second business yet or started one, like start to have another plan for just if we have a 2 or 3 month weird hiccup, like we had the first few months of 2020, you got to have a backup plan.
I feel so much better that you've kind of brought that up and kind of validated, what I've done. It's because I know that had I just focused on one thing, real estate, I probably could have made bigger sales. We probably could have did 100 million a long time ago.
100%.
Like, yeah, it would have been great. But you're actually dead on. Like 2020, everything stopped. I was thankful that at least I had some income coming in. Like most, like real estate stopped. I had 6 or 7 escrows. Just, hey, we're canceling, right? So
you were luxury condos, right? That's when that was your gig.
I've had so many. I've never had that many escrows cancel one time, right? Hundreds of $1,000s in commission checks gone. But at least I had my, the rentals were still paying, and so I was like, okay, well, at least we still got that. And, it just, you have a little bit more stability. So I appreciate those words. I'm like, man, because I know some agents that crush it, but that's all they do. Yeah. And so I'm like, man, but
it's so easy to get caught up and jealous of other people's stories. And it's so easy. And there's something to be said about focus. Like, yes, if you focus all of your effort on growing this one thing, that can happen and it can grow faster. But the downside is, and from 2009 to 2012, my only focus was make as much money as I could flipping foreclosures in California. And I was so good at that. I was like the best at that, I'll say. But all it took was one bad 6 or 9 month period when all of a sudden everybody was in the market to go like, oh, like I should have focused on maybe 2 things. If I'd have focused on 2 things, my 2014, 2015 would have been very different. So I think you've done it the right way, man. I think when you get to say, hey, I could have been a little bit bigger if I'd have focused on this, the fact that you have all of those backup plans and so much diversification under 30, right? Like we got you on here because you're the 30 under 30 recipient. You've also been a listener to the podcast. And I told you before we even hit record, like my favorite thing to do is interview guys like you that have listened, that have been a part of this and getting to come on. Today was awesome. We've gone longer than I was planning to on this recording. Brian, any final thoughts out there you want to tell people about ways to get a hold of you? If they want to hear more about your brokerage, you got 50 Hills Real Estate out in San Francisco. If they want to ask you about teams or who to go to coaching, or just want to say hi, what's the best way they can find you?
Man, email me at Brian, BRIAN @50hills.com. I'm an open book. I've been taught to collaborate, grow. So reach out to me if I can help you out. I'm here for you.
Brian, this is awesome. So much fun getting to talk to you. And thanks for coming on. Hope we'll have you on again next year. I want to see if you hit some really crazy numbers this year, dude. You're going to, what are we at? 240 million? Is that what you're going to?
Maybe. We'll see. I might take a couple of vacations in between. Yeah. I haven't gone anywhere in years. So
spend some of that money on breaks. Well, you had a great January, dude. Congratulations. Thanks for coming on the show today.
I appreciate you.
Real Estate Rockstars. Thanks for listening.
All right, Real Estate Rockstars. This is Aaron Muchastegui jumping in again to thank you for listening to the show. Hopefully you guys loved listening to that one. And I want to make sure that you know about all of the extra resources that we have. And also, we need your help. They say podcasts are free. You get to listen to podcasts for free. But what is the cost of that podcast? I would say if I could beg you to pay anything for that podcast, I would say the cost of the podcast is going and giving a review. So whether you download it on Google or Apple or YouTube or anywhere else, please go give us a review. Say what you liked, what you didn't like. It helps us get better guests. The more reviews, the higher we get in the rankings. Right now, we are the biggest podcast out there for real estate agents, and we want to keep that spot because we know there's lots of podcasts out there. So go give us a review. Also, be sure to go to hibandigital.com. If you liked any of the resources that those real estate agents talked about, we've got a huge video vault of those resources for free. Every penny that comes on the podcast that we interview, they give us something that helps them get their deals or helps them work with their clients. And we put that in the toolbox in our vault for you. So go to hibandigital.com and you can get it. If you're looking for real estate education, go to rebusuniversity.com. We have all sorts of courses in there to help agents succeed in real estate, how to get the listing, how to negotiate deals, how to become an investor, all sorts of different stuff, rebusuniversity.com. And if you want to chat with me, go find me on Instagram. And if you come find me on Instagram, you can send me messages. Tell me what you want to hear. Tell me what you liked, what you didn't like. We try to put a bunch of content out there too. You can find me in two different places. It's at rerockstars.com for our Real Estate Rockstars page, or at aaronamuchastegui.com for my personal Instagram page, where I can chat with you about all sorts of different things. Thanks for listening. We'll see you again soon.